I'm President Donald Trump, and I have the greatest hair you've ever seen. If you watch Liquid Lunch, you'll see that John Tobacco has probably one of the worst hairlines ever. But watch it anyway. It's a good show.
Hey, welcome back. It's Thirsty Thursday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. No, that was not President Trump making fun of my coif. That was our good friend John DiDomenico, and he plays a heck of a Donald Trump, and he's a great friend of the show. And another great friend of the show joins us now to talk about all the craziness that's going on in the markets. Michael Busler joins us. He's a public policy analyst and economics expert. He's a professor of finance at Stockton University. He's a contributing featured columnist at Newsmax, LifeZet, and also townhall.com. Dr. Busler, thanks for joining us today on Liquid Lunch. I wish you were in studio like you've been in the past, but the big news this week is down almost 800 points. We seem to have stabilized a little bit today with the Dow up just marginally, 35 points as we speak. What is going on with these markets?
Well, a few things are happening that are bringing the market down. Look, when people buy stocks, they're primarily concerned with what kind of return they'll get in the future. You'll pay more money for a stock, and if you think you're going to get a lower return, you'll pay less money. So what's causing people to think they'll get a lower return? The manufacturing index came out yesterday, and it showed manufacturing is slowing. The index is below 50. That indicates no growth rather than growth. So that got people spooked mostly yesterday. Today, the service sector numbers came out, and the service sector accounts for about 70% of GDP. That number is still above 50, so it's still positive, but it's not quite as strong as we expected. The market so far is not reacting negatively to that. The market also does not like uncertainty, and there's a lot of uncertainty with the trade war that's going on, and most recently with this impeachment talk of the president. That adds a lot of uncertainty. Many investors may feel that if the impeachment effort is successful and Trump leaves office, that all of these good economic policies that Trump has instituted may go away, and the economy may go back into a stagnant position, which it was in before President Trump came into office.
Mentioned, Michael, the president tweeted yesterday that the markets are down because of the impeachment nonsense, as he said, and to me it is nonsense. We talk to our audience a lot about uncertainty. We try to always educate our audience on what's happening in the market. And the one thing the market hates most, like you said, is uncertainty. If it's going to be bad and they know it, then they know how to trade against it. If it's going to be good, they know how to trade against it. But when these things come out of nowhere and they're very uncertain, that's when people want to start pulling back and taking their chips off the table until they can get another level. What do you make about this whole Nancy Pelosi announcing an official impeachment inquiry?
Well, they've been trying to impeach President Trump literally since the day he was elected. Even before he got sworn into office, they were trying to get him out of office. It turned out that the whole Russian thing and the special prosecutor with Mueller failed to provide any reason to impeach the president, so now they're looking for something else. I read the transcript of President's telephone conversation. I don't read it the same way that Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi are reading it. The way I read it, the president said, look, there's been a lot of corruption in Ukraine, as you know. A former vice president may have been involved in that corruption, and we would like to know about it. You, the Ukraine, have access to more information than we do, so we'd like you to help us assist in finding out if a former vice president was involved in any corruption. The fact that he's now running for president does not give him a get-out-of-jail-free card if he did something wrong. And President Trump doesn't need this information to run against Joe Biden if he is the nominee, and it's increasingly looking like he won't be. But President Trump doesn't need anything from Ukraine to run against Joe Biden. He can run against Biden just on his record. So all he's looking for is to try to flush out some of the corruption that has been in the Ukraine and other countries, and the Attorney General Barr is trying to assist with this. Everything is being done properly. The Democrats have just twisted this, as they seem to have twisted a lot of things, and now they're starting an impeachment proceeding, I think, or an inquiry, or whatever exactly they're calling it. They haven't had a official vote in the House. So I don't think anything will really come of this. It'll nag the president. But even if the House is successful in voting articles of impeachment, it then has to go to the Senate, where you need 2/3 of the Senate to vote them out. And that's never happened before. Even Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton, who were both impeached by the House, neither was removed from office by the Senate. President Trump, if it gets that far, won't be removed either.
Well, Dr. Michael Busler, public policy analyst and professor of finance at Stockton University, thank you so much for joining us today on Liquid Lunch. Your insights and observations are always on the money. Donald Trump asked another president who's an ally to look into the fact of whether the former vice president of the United States had committed some corrupt behavior. And now all of a sudden he's abused his power because he's looking into the former vice president. Well, let me just leave you with this before we go to commercial break. Donald Trump was a candidate for president, and the president of the United States, Barack Obama, and the former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, used the might of the federal government to go and spy on Donald Trump when he was a candidate. So the president and the Secretary of State abused their power immensely, and this is proven that they got illegal FISA warrants and they used Perkins Coie to dig up dirt on the president before he was the president. It's almost a mirror image of what's happening here, except Donald Trump is asking them to look into something that don't pass the sniff test. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this with Sam Markstein. You're watching Liquid Lunch.